Welcome back, everybody. So, concern has been raised by some educators, parents and governing bodies regarding the Basic Education Department's planned orientation curriculum that will be implemented next year. Yesterday, you may remember, we spoke to the Association of School Governing Bodies and the Suid-Afrikaanse Onderwysers Unie, or SAOU, who voiced their concerns. The department says it's disappointed that the public has been misled with wrong information about the subject matter. So let's get some clarity. And joining us in studio now to tell us what the life orientation curriculum actually consists of, Elijah Mhlanga, who of course is the spokesperson for the Department of Basic Education. Good to see you. Thanks very much for coming in.
Good morning. Thank you.
So, you saw the interview from yesterday, and we've been talking to what is alleged to be contained in the new curriculum that's coming out for 2020 in life orientation. So talk to us about the department's viewpoint and some of the things you'd like to correct.
Well, the first thing that we'd like to correct is your introduction, that there is a new curriculum. There's no new curriculum. And the second thing is that we're implementing next year, which is also not correct. And that has been at the core of the confusion and panic that has been taking place. All that we are doing, we are piloting scripted lesson plans which are meant to empower teachers and improve the way they've been delivering life orientation as a subject in our schools. That's what we're doing. There is no new curriculum, and I think I must say this maybe 3 times
so
that people can understand. There is no new curriculum. The curriculum has been there since the year 2000, and we are not changing anything. I think it's important that we emphasize this point. So we are not changing anything. All that we're doing is to develop scripts for teachers, for them to focus on the content that has been provided for by the department. And this is why we're making these scripted lessons available for teachers.
Okay.
The curriculum had topics which teachers would teach, but the content they had to find themselves. So some of them were not comfortable with teaching that content. They would invite NGOs to come and teach children on their behalf. That's the first group. The second group would go on Google and search information and find all sorts of things and use that for teaching. So we are correcting that. We are saying you will teach only that which has been approved by curriculum experts and other experts that are helping us in terms of developing content for teaching.
Okay, where did the confusion come in then?
The confusion came because an organization came out to say that there is a new curriculum that the department will be implementing next year, and this curriculum will be teaching learners in grade 4 about masturbation, which is wrong. All of it is wrong. But one of the things that they've gone on to say is the fact that it is wrong for us in the content that we are using in the scripted lesson plans to say that it is okay to be gay. They are objecting to that. Why is that wrong? Because it's the reality that we're in. Never mind the fact that the Constitution guarantees everybody's right to identify themselves and live in whatever way that they want. And we are protecting that right, making sure that people of all orientations are able to feel welcome in school, and are given resources and support that they deserve for them to be able to live a good quality life.
Okay, so I'm now a bit confused because, okay, so you're saying that this organization, can you name the organization?
Well, it's called FORSA, Forum for Religious something.
Okay, so you're saying they leaked the so-called new curriculum, which is not a new curriculum.
It's not even a leak, Leanne. We are piloting in 1,500 schools.
Okay.
So this material is freely available in public as part of a pilot. So
for teachers or for students?
For teacher training.
Only?
Of course, the learners will also be given some material. In fact, you're asking now a good question, because people have been talking about material and textbooks and all of these things. There's a teacher resource book, a guide for teachers on how to teach this thing. And then there will be another book for the learner. And these books are not the same. The one for the teacher has more detail because it seeks to empower the teacher on how they should deliver the curriculum to the learner. And of course, the learner will have their own book on how they are going to follow up and do further reading on this thing. So we have been speaking about this as though it's one and the same thing, when in fact it's not the same. There's a book for the teacher and the one for the learner.
Does the curriculum contain masturbation?
It does at the later stage.
Yes, for the children in grade 4.
No, it doesn't. That's the other lie, by the way, that has been perpetuated in the public. Even in September, when we issued a media statement to clarify these things, people just refuse to understand the position that we're putting across and insisting on spreading a lie. And we're concerned by that because it's not the truth. The truth is in the material that the department has developed, and it's free. You can come to us. We can show you the breakdown in terms of the grade and what is being taught in that grade. It's age appropriate. Yeah. And we emphasize that point that we are not irresponsible. We are not going to expose your child to something that they are not ready for.
So completely wrong.
Yes.
Grade 4s will not be taught masturbation.
That's
not part of the curriculum. There is no curriculum that is going to be introduced in 2020 that's going to contain this. However, you did say something that homosexuality would be included in the curriculum. That it can be taught.
It's
can
already
be spoken about.
Maybe let's go back a few steps. We are not talking about sex education here. In fact, I heard Sakina earlier saying it's sex education. In fact, other people as well, they're saying sex education. It's not sex education, it's sexuality education. And when you say sexuality education, then you're talking about human sexuality and the different genders and how people identify themselves. That's what we are talking about. Because if you go to our schools these days, you will find there are learners who are choosing to be identified in all sorts of ways. And we agree and support that because it is their right to do so. So we can't not teach that. We need to teach them because it's the reality that we face. We need to make sure that we empower our children. We make sure that they know how to tolerate each other. In fact, even understand that we are different, but we need to coexist. No one is better than the other. That's exactly what we're doing, to say to them, understand who you are in relation to yourself and other people, and respect yourself and respect other people as well. Issues of privacy, good habits, respect for self and respect for others. Those are the things that we are teaching.
Yeah. So this is contained in that manual that's been given to teachers to try and help them understand some of the issues.
And teach better.
And this teaching matter. However, for pupils and learners, they're not going to be getting this material. Are they getting anything new, though? Is there anything that's been amended in the curriculum to try and include some of these issues you're talking about? Because some of these issues in 2000 were not an issue, but they are an issue now. So has it been amended in any way whatsoever?
Of course, we need to make sure that our learners are given information that is relevant to them. In the process of teaching, you can't teach, of course, you're right, you can't teach something that's old when the world has changed. So in a situation where we find that the LGBTQI community has come forth to say, we feel that we are not being given the space, we feel that we are not being understood. And although their rights are there and enshrined in the Constitution, we need to then reconfigure the teaching method to ensure that that content is also included and that learners are made aware of these things because they need to know and understand. In fact, they are living that reality. So we make such adjustments, but that is not changing the curriculum. Changing a curriculum, it's a systemic issue that we have to do in consultation with stakeholders. But changing a teaching method, absolutely not. It's administrative.
Is there training available to teachers? Because some of the stuff that we're reading about here in these guidelines, so, you know, to teach a grade 8 is just to, I'm quoting from the City Press now, from that leaked document, whatever document this is, which you say the document is for teachers to learn from. So it's written here, pupils in grade 8 will begin to distinguish between biological and gender identity and how it differs. They will learn about unsafe abortions. In the guide for the lesson, an hour is prescribed for descriptions of vaginal, oral and anal sex, fertilization, the biology of pregnancy and the chances of getting pregnant. Fact or rubbish?
Your question was whether teachers are being trained. In fact, this matter...
To teach this material.
I'm addressing your question.
Good, go for it.
The matter that we are discussing today has actually come about as a result of the teacher training program that is currently underway. All our teachers, including the SAOU teachers, by the way, they have been trained on this. They know how to teach it. And they know that as a teacher, you need more knowledge than the learner so that you're able to be confident and deliver the information appropriately. Of course, the teachers, they're adults, they've been trained. In fact, right now, universities are teaching student teachers on this subject and how to teach it better, right from university. So the training is there, but we are also putting our teachers through training in school. So they know that they need to teach these things. And part of the problem, by the way, was the fact that some of our teachers, because of their religious beliefs, cultural backgrounds, and other prejudices, were saying, I'm not going to teach this. I feel uncomfortable. So we are saying, no, we'll do a script for you so that you teach exactly what you should be teaching. It's not about you. It's about the nation. It's about the children who should be empowered to be able to identify potential dangers that they need to be protected against.
I go back again to ask the same question. In grade 8, is this the content that you feel is necessary for students to be learning? Anal sex, fertilization, vaginal sex, all these kind of things.
It's actually already there in life sciences. It's nothing new, the fact that it's there in life orientation. It's there in biology.
Yeah.
The subject that you call biology is now life sciences, so it's there.
If a teacher does feel uncomfortable teaching this, which is understandable, if you are a teacher that's trained in mathematics and science and history or whatever the case may be, and suddenly now this lands on your plate that you have a class full of children that you need to educate about this, don't you think it would be a better idea for the basic education department to bring in so-called experts, people that can deal with this kind of topic? Don't you think, Elijah, that would help if teachers are refusing to teach this?
This is how it works. A life orientation teacher is a life orientation teacher. We don't give people who were not trained in life orientation to teach life orientation. So if you felt that handling subjects like this, which have to do with topics that could possibly make you uncomfortable, then you wouldn't be, and you shouldn't be, in life orientation. You shouldn't have chosen it as a subject of interest. So you wouldn't be in it. Everyone who has chosen to teach life orientation is a person who knew what it meant to teach the subject. You were prepared to face what the subject would bring with it to you. So no one is forced to be a life orientation teacher. People come to it by choice. So the issue of discomfort is something that you really need to think twice about. But training is there to make sure that they're empowered and know how to handle these issues. So you need to also look at yourself as a person and say, why am I teaching this subject if at some point it makes me feel uncomfortable?
Yeah, but it is. I mean, you yourself said that some of the teachers feel uncomfortable, and it is tough, and things have evolved. I mean, things like sexting it wasn't around in 2000. It wasn't around even 10 years ago. It is something that's new. It's something that's evolved and developed. And teaching children about this is a very sensitive issue. And not everybody is trained to do that. Life orientation is not...
No, our teachers are trained, by the way. All of them are trained to do it.
Can you put your life on the line by saying that every single teacher in South Africa that has trained in life orientation is qualified to teach all of these things, anal sex, sexting, all of these kind of things, you think they can handle in rural schools everywhere in the country? You think they're trained to do this?
No, the training has taken place because we have a database of all the teachers who have gone through it. But whether they will actually deliver based on the training they've obtained, that's another matter. But the training has been provided. They then choose, and that's the point that I made earlier, that people will receive the training, but then their cultural backgrounds and their religious beliefs will then become a barrier. And then they say, no, I don't want to do this, which is a different matter, which we are now addressing using the scripted lesson plans to say, you are going to do. And the majority of them are teaching it, by the way. So it's just a matter of making sure that what we are doing is fully understood by society. In fact, there is an impact valuation study, by the way, in all the schools that we have done the pilot in. And they are saying that they feel that some of the content should be also translated into other languages so that it's easy to communicate it. So they are welcoming it, and the research is there. We have trained about 14,000 teachers in the pilot and reached 292,000 learners who are receiving it positively.
Yeah. So if we go back to this issue, you had said very earlier that we come from a very diverse nation and all beliefs and views need to be respected. So my understanding here is that the Basic Education Department is not respecting the views of certain teachers who feel uncomfortable due to their religious beliefs, due to their cultural beliefs, that they cannot teach this. So again, I ask you, do you not think a solution would to to bring in trained educational experts and psychologists to come in and treat this matter with immense sensitivity to children, because it is a very sensitive issue that can change the life. No child deserves to be abused, and if they are not being taught that in the home, they should be taught this in school. No child deserves to be touched in places that is their private parts, which I believe is also going to be taught. But if a teacher can't do that, can't you step in and say, we will assist you, here is an organization that can teach it?
Leanne, we speak to experts. In fact, experts helped us to develop this
which I believe so, I know.
Exactly. So they are there, they are assisting us. So what we have now is as a result of the consultation that has taken place among religious groupings as well, who are supporting it, and some of them have said, we have a group of schools, give us this material, we are going to use it in our group of schools because we feel it is useful. So it is there, we are doing that. And we are helping teachers, as you're asking if we are not going to help teachers. We are helping teachers to say, here is a script and we are going to teach this. If maybe you feel uncomfortable, maybe life orientation is not yours, move to something else. Another person will come through. And anyway, we have other teachers that are coming out of universities who have also been trained. So they could come through and teach for you if you feel you don't want to teach. But training, we are going to do, we are continuing to do it, and we'll empower you to be able to handle these sensitive issues. So it's not about you. In fact, there are many jobs that we do, even being in the medical profession, for example. You spoke about abortion there. Others, because of their religious beliefs, they say they don't do it, because they feel their religion doesn't allow it. So there are many professions where you are confronted with scenarios that your religious beliefs or your cultural background says a different thing, and yet the profession says you need to go this direction. So those are some of the conflicts and realities of life, especially in the place of work, where you need to ask yourself, do I really need to be here? And you make a personal choice. You can exit if you want to. If you want to stay, you will stay, but you need to understand that there are professional codes of ethics that you'll need to follow and adhere by.
Yeah, okay. I can beg to differ on this one, because I know that there are organizations that do go into schools, that do assist the teachers in handling this very sensitive information.
What are you disagreeing with? Because I said...
Because if some people honestly have refused to teach this syllabus, assist them. Bring somebody, not that this is a syllabus, because at the beginning of the interview you said the curriculum's not changing.
No,
we've pushed that to the side.
Let me help you now.
Thank you.
The organizations are there. We have FAMSA and other organizations.
Exactly, this is what I'm saying to you.
Yes, and they go to our schools.
Right.
They teach, they are not teaching they are not teaching necessarily curriculum. They help with more information to empower teachers in addition to, but it's not a replacement. It cannot be a replacement. They cannot take over the work of the teachers. And we work with many NGOs, by the way. Yeah. But the teachers cannot rely on them. We're not saying NGOs must not come through. In fact, we're happy that they are coming through because they're assisting. In fact, some of the learners, they're saying, if I didn't learn this thing in school, I would have had nowhere else to learn this thing, because no one is talking to me about this. So they are closing that gap, but we have a responsibility as the education department to make sure that we have written content, appropriate content, scientific, methodical, and logical that we're going to use to deliver to our learners.
That is given to the teachers.
Yes.
So this is not a new curriculum. I need to get this from you, because
it's not a new curriculum.
It's not a new curriculum.
We are giving
this
them
information
scripts
that was leaked, that is sitting in newspapers, that you say
by
is
the
not
way, that's
leaked.
an old version. I forgot to tell you that what they gave you is something that's old. That's why they say it's a leak. It's not old. You know, when you do a pilot, you look at what is working and what's not working. Where you feel you need to make adjustments, you make the adjustments. So they had an old version of that document, and they published it, and time has moved. We have since updated some of these documents. That's why they are misleading people.
Where's the new document?
It's available at the department. In fact, I'm glad you're asking that question. A lot of people have been saying, can you give us the material? We've giving them the address of the department to say, come fetch. Go do the review yourself. They come back and say, okay, no, now we understand. A lot of them have done that. Traditional leaders, religious organizations, and other individuals. They come through, we give them boxes. It's not something that we can email to you. It's large. Boxes, prepare yourself to come collect. Then we'll help you. But before we give you the box, we'll sit down with you and explain the purpose of the CAPS curriculum and the purpose of life orientation as a subject, and why this component on sexuality education in the life orientation curriculum.
Okay, well, then hopefully we can get that and get the corrections, because parents feel they haven't been asked these questions.
It's based on false information that we are not consulting, when in fact we've been consulting.
Good. Well, I mean, you're here to dispute some of these things. But for me, I still see gaps in this entire line here. I mean,
where's the gap?
Well, there's certain schools where children will come out and they still can't read. And
no,
you're
now
telling
we are changing
me,
the subject.
We'll
come back another time to talk about it.
Hear me out, that some students and learners come out of schools, they can't read, and you're telling me that teachers will be equipped to teach them this very sensitive information of life orientation, and this is sensitive information.
What are you asking?
It's life-changing information. I am again asking you if they cannot get proper assistance from professionals for teachers that are refusing to teach this, that they feel that this is against what they believe. And parents also are feeling that the ability of parenting may be taken away from them to teach their children this sensitive issue.
Not at all. This is how it works. And we always say this, that a school merely reinforces what you as a parent has taught at home. We are not here to replace you. We are not your substitute. The first lessons that must happen, they happen in the home. The child learns to speak, to walk, to write, and say words at home. At school, we only bring the structure. We bring the format, and we give age-appropriate information, because we know that there are certain cognitive levels that would allow you to learn certain things. So we don't just do it haphazardly, but we are reinforcing what you're teaching at home. But then, what about those children who say, no one is talking to me at home, I've
Absolutely.
got my parents,
and I
not
agree
teaching
with you on that.
So
I do.
We work with organizations. They come support our teachers, and the teachers observe how to handle this sensitive subject. But the organizations will not be there every day. When the life orientation period comes, the organizations will not be there every day. The teacher has the responsibility to make sure that they teach and assess the learner to see if they've really
We've run into news time already, but I have a very important question from viewers who are also quite concerned about that. Artwell asking this question: as a parent, will the school allow my child to drop out of the life orientation subject if I feel it's going against my family religious beliefs?
But we have not seen the content. First see the content, come fetch, we'll give you, and then you'll make the decision.
Will you give the content to a parent if they come knocking on your door?
We are doing that every day. We've been inviting them to come fetch so they can do the review themselves.
So where is this confusion coming
Exactly my question. Why
Maybe
are people
not
allowing?
Communicating with the media
No,
enough.
we have been communicating. It's just that people think they've got leaked documents.
All right.
When they are leaking something that's publicly available, they fool you into thinking that they've got an exclusive when they don't have.
All right. Well, listen, Elijah, we leave it there for now. We'll have a look at this documentation that
let's do that.
you've got, and perhaps it'll enlighten all of us, and we can talk further going about this. But the moral of the story from the first minute of this interview, what you said, the curriculum is not changing. There is no new curriculum. It's just teaching notes for the teachers.
You've got it right. Good summary.
Well done.
Thank you.
Okay, sure. It's always fun talking to you, Elijah. 3 minutes past 8 here on the program. We're running late into the news. Here's Sakina with your details.